Hello everyone, it's me, Juan Gamer54, back in video today! We're back with another video. Yes, I know, I'm posting a little late than usual. Usually I post like around 1. But a birthday party is coming up, and surprisingly enough, it's my little sister's birthday, so I apologize for that. So we were going out and, getting things ready. But anywho, we're back with another video, and today we're gonna be reacting to Game Theory Danny World. Yes, believe it or not, I've been seeing a lot of comments saying that Danny World deserves a video, and now Game Theory's doing it. So now we're gonna watch to it. Originally, I don't know what Danny World is, to be honest. I'm sorry if it offends someone, but basing that it's on Roblox, why do I feel like this is another game that I'm going to probably play in the future? But anyways, without further ado, let's do this.
Roblox is at it again. Move over, doors. There's a new horror game in town that's
What?
taking the internet and our subreddit by storm. And its name is Dandy's World. But don't trust that smile for a minute, friends, because behind it is a sad and broken character who ruined the lives of his friends, his creators, and the very studio we're exploring.
Really?
Hello, Internet. Welcome
I thought
to
you were
Game
going to say
Theory,
that he's
the
a
show
demon.
that just can't get enough black goo. Think about it. Bendy, Doors, Welcome Home, Bob Mod, FNAF, all of them have a black, goopy thing that leads to one thing. Oh. We should probably just plug it into my veins at this point, but alas, HR won't let me do it. And
Dang.
it's been a while since my last black goopy hit when I saw our subreddit blowing up with a game called Dandy's World that also had its own black goo. I was very excited to gobble up whatever sticky dark lore this thing had to offer. On the surface,
Sticky
Dandy's World
black
is a
lore,
multiplayer
huh?
survival horror game on
Interesting.
Roblox. The game itself takes place in an abandoned educational center and museum called the Garden View Center. We play as these little creatures known as toons. Our job is to hop into the elevator with some friends and complete various tasks while collecting items that can be traded into the lead character Dandy to unlock even more toons to play as. But as you might expect, we're not the only things creeping around these empty halls. The deeper we go, the more we start to get a sense of what happened to this place once filled with the sounds of children's laughter and joy. What happened to this beloved place to shutter its doors, and why it has suddenly come back to life with evil versions of the toons known as Twisted that are trying desperately to stop us, dripping with that delightful black goo. There it is. Oh,
Tom.
So, step into the
Tom, have some control of yourself, man.
Dandy's World and its smiling rainbow flower mascot. The history of the Garden View Center actually starts with this note that you can find if you don't die to the various Twisteds chasing you around the various floors.
Oh, so I know it's gonna be me. I'm about to die.
From this, we can see that the Garden View Center is the brainchild of two young visionaries, Henry Stein and Joey Drew. Wait, no, I meant Delilah Keene and Arthur Walton. Although connections between these two and Bendy definitely keep going. Thanks to a note sketched out by Arthur, we can tell that he was the one who originally designed the look of the toons. As for Delilah, she was a bit more sus. After seeing the sketch of the lead character Dandy, she writes back to Arthur saying,
"What about the others? You said he had friends. Yes? I'll need them. Respond ASAP. By the way, out of coffee. Get more. Also ASAP."
Uh-oh. If she's anything like me without my morning coffee, things are about to get real bad.
Of course.
She's like Santi. But despite
Dang! Why you guys have beef? Why the unnecessary but funny beef between you and Santi, man? Come on.
Ominous language, Arthur doesn't seem fazed, saying, "You've never failed me before, Delilah." Then, in a recent update, the developers added these portraits of Garden View's two founders. Arthur is dressed to the nines, I tip my hat to you, sir, and Delilah is covered in black goo. See, Arthur, this is how it starts. And then you decide to leave, and your business partner creates an inky dimension inside their apartment, which is meant to house an inky version of you that they can torture for all eternity. It's a tale as old as time. Although, this black goo is a little different to the living ink from Bendy.
No, it's the fact that no, what's worse is that she has this type of, shadow over her eyes and that smile. I'm sorry, but a smile like that, the Grinch smile, does not scream trustworthy. I'm sorry, man. You should have seen this coming.
To house an inky version of you that they can torture for all eternity. It's a tale as old as time. Although this black goo is a little different to the living ink from Bendy. It's called Ichor, and not only can we find this black goo all over the place during the game, but when you get caught by a Twisted, your toon explodes into the stuff. It's almost like the Roblox PG safe version of blood, and the name certainly lends itself to that line of thinking. Ichor isn't just a made-up word. It comes from what is very quickly becoming my favorite thing to talk about on this channel. Say it with me now. Greek mythology. I wonder why there's so much of this in indie horror these days. Probably a theory for another day. So
why is there so many Greek?
Subscribe button like your life depends on it, because it just might. Anyway, the ancient Greeks believed that instead of having blood coursing through their veins, the gods had a mysterious substance known as Ichor. They also believed that if a normal human were to come into contact with Ichor, they would die instantly. So that's it. Ichor is just the blood of the toons. Oh no, my friends, there is a lot more going on here, because
is the toons gods? Oh boy.
We collect more and more.
Oh, come on.
Form of currency. We collect more and more of this stuff as we descend further into the levels of the Garden View Center. But when we use this precious Ichor to purchase more toons to play as from Dandy's shop. Almost as if Ichor isn't just the blood that's coursing through them, but it's actually what is used to make the toons. And given the notes and photos we found from earlier,
so like Bendy with ink.
Designed the toons, it was Delilah who brought them to life using the Ichor. I guess it really is just the ink machine after all. And similarly, it has an unfortunate side effect.
Oh no.
As you play and encounter more of the Twisted toons, you unlock research that gives you more lore about each character. Several of the research entries mention that it's the Ichor, and more specifically being overcome by Ichor, that turns these happy-go-lucky toons into the Twisted monsters.
I thought it was an overdose.
That also explains why all of the Twisteds can be seen with Ichor pouring out of every orifice. They are literally so full of the stuff, it's leaking out of them. So then, if this stuff is so volatile, why make toons to begin with? As I mentioned, Arthur and Delilah get
something tells me success or something.
And from there, they set up the Garden View Center as a children's educational center and museum.
Okay. I don't know Danny's World a lot, but I'm about to make a theory. I'm about to give myself a little bit of a theory or prediction. They made Garden View, so something tells me they're using kids as experimental piggies. I mean, at this point, what indie horror game does not use kids as the victims, man? It's always, every single time, kids. Rarely do you have an adult just be the victim. It's always kids for some reason. Or if it's not that, then money, I guess. And money brings in more research, and more research makes build a ink machine, I guess, to make more toons. We'll see.
What it was a museum of back in 1984 is unclear exactly, but based on 2 Polaroid photos dated 1988, what is clear is that these characters were originally designed as a selling point for the center. Unlike other attractions, the Garden View Center didn't have just people in mascot costumes or cuddly animatronics. They had living, breathing versions of the toons that kids could come and meet. We all know how well that goes. It appears as time went on, these characters became popular beyond just the center. Despite this place looking abandoned for years, there are a bunch of posters still lining the walls that give us some interesting details. First off, they made me realize that my own office walls were somehow looking more barren than an abandoned facility. Almost as if someone had come and stolen everything before I moved in. Thankfully, our good friends at Display saw my plot to what's lining the walls of the Garden View Center.
Alright, we're back.
In every corner of the Garden View Center, there are CRTs playing a TV show full of lovable toons who might look a little familiar. There are also posters of the different episodes of this show, along with the dates they originally aired, hung up on the many walls of the building. This show is Dandy's World, and the earliest date we see for the show is for the episode Snowy Adventure, which aired on Christmas 1990. 2 years after the earliest date we know these toons to have existed. The Garden View characters became so popular that they eventually created a show. The show wasn't just about the many adventures of Garden View, though. If you take a look around the place, you can actually find storyboards for the show. If you don't know, storyboards are essentially
Season 1, Episode 3.
Even gaming studios will use to plan out a sequence of events and the shots that they will need to capture or draw for any given project.
Okay.
This show was actively being worked on here at the Garden View Center. This wasn't just a place where kids could come to learn and play. It was also a TV studio. And as I realized that, I couldn't help but be reminded of a certain other TV studio slash theme park from the real world that was popular around the same time. A studio that in itself was also famous for its use of a slimy substance.
What?
Nickelodeon.
Oh.
If you're not old enough to know what I'm talking
Nickelodeon.
about, I don't blame you. I'm barely old enough to remember. But when you work for TV studios like Fox and Disney, you get very familiar with the history of competing studios. Nickelodeon Studios was part of the wider Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida. Much like the Garden View Center, it was both a place for kids and a working studio. Classic Nick shows like Double Dare, Legends of the Hidden Temple, and the early seasons of all that were all filmed at Nickelodeon Studios.
Okay.
But the fun part was, people that were coming for the theme park side to keep their kids entertained could also sign up to come and see their favorite shows get made. If you were lucky,
Really?
you had the chance of being in the audience to watch these shows being made live.
The Grade was produced before a live
Is that right?
studios at Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida.
And of course, we can't forget about the slime. Nickelodeon and their patented green slime go together like peanut butter and jam. Sorry, jelly. No, if Icor is supposed to be Garden View's version of slime, that would make Double Dare a whole lot more morbid. This idea of live studio filming is exactly what we're seeing happening in the Garden View Center. While the clips for the TV show are definitely cartoons, the characters themselves are toons, and they talk as if these events were real events that really happened. For example, one of the episodes of the Dandy's World TV show was called Winning Big, and it features a toon named Scraps on a game show, well, Winning Big, with the show being hosted by another toon, V. But despite this presumably happening on a fictional TV show, the actual V and Scraps have memories of this event. In one of the dialogues that can happen among the characters between levels, V and Scraps say this.
Hey V, you're not mad at me for winning all of your game show prizes, right, V? I'm gonna take that as a yes.
Dang, my
Another set of
man's salty.
dialogue, V claims Scraps' victory on the game show was down to pure luck. It doesn't really make much sense that V would be so salty about what happened on a TV show about her. Instead, it's more likely that she is mad because it really happened. These toons are more than just live action characters for the kids to meet. They were the performers that starred in the show. And those kids
That
who
believe
were
everything's
center
real.
would have the chance to watch the show being recorded live. And I use the word would have very specifically. The show was a massive success. We know that by 1990, Dandy's World was on the air and ran for over a decade. But as with all indie horror histories, the winning streak couldn't last forever.
Oh,
The
no.
final episode of the show was planned for July 21st, 2002. But from what we can tell, it never actually made it to air because according to the city newspaper, on June 24th, 2002, the Garden View Center closed its doors. The last aired episode we know about was from 2001, which again lines up with what we saw from the Nickelodeon studios. They
Dang.
began to lay off staff that same year, 2001, and the game shows being produced there had production halted, while Nickelodeon Animation continued in other locations, which is another reason why I feel like Dandy's World was being produced as a live-action production. If there was just another animated cartoon, we'd likely see remnants of the show still going on, but as it stands, the show stopped at the same time the studio did. However, compared to Nick Studios' closure being due to the heavy shift in animation and the increase in shows needing to be filmed in Los Angeles, Garden View's closure was a little more mysterious. According to that same newspaper, it was shut down due to a, quote, malfunction incident, which, as we all know, is indie horror corporate speak for our creation turned on us and tried to kill everyone. It's even more suspicious when the creator, Arthur, was asked to comment and chose to remain silent, especially when behind the scenes he makes it abundantly clear that he knew exactly what was going on. He writes in a letter to his longtime business partner Delilah,
Delilah, we need to talk. I know you've kept reassuring me that what had happened wasn't due to anything you had done. You had to have known this could happen to him. If you did, why didn't you tell anyone? Why didn't you tell me? Something like this doesn't just happen.
That him that Arthur is referring to, the one that something happened to, the one that malfunctioned, I believe is none other than the star of the show, our titular flower, Danny. Let me explain. Ever since Garden View Center closed down, several of the...
Okay, I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why I'm bringing it up now, but this reminds me a lot. Like, I'm getting the same feeling when MatPat did his first video with Bendy in the Ink Machine. You know how Bendy and Joey Drew Studios were kind of similar to No, not the Russo brothers. Hold on, it was someone else. Basically, it was with a not Flatsteiner. Who is I'm thinking about? It was the boyfriend to Betty Boop. It was like, Disney had like some sort of like animation war back in the, like, Disney had like some sort of animation war with another competitor, and that competitor just, didn't win, because we all know Disney's on top of this, currently. So Max Fleischer, I think? The Fleischer brothers? I don't know. I might probably I'll probably do like a throwback episode to watch that first video of Bendy, because I really do enjoy that Bendy episode, to be honest. And I want to at least... But, leave it down in the comment section if you guys are interested to see a throwback episode to the Bendy and Ink Machine stuff. Because, like, it really is my favorite episode in the Bendy stuff.
Other Toons have talked about how uneasy they feel around him. And we don't have to take their word for it. We can see it for ourselves in-game. In between levels, Dandy pops up in the elevator to sell you power-ups to make your run easier. But if you instead choose to not buy from him, Dandy starts to get more and more frustrated. If you continue to ignore him, things become less fine.
You're making a big
dandy,
mistake.
And he'll have a full-blown meltdown. He will turn into his twisted form, and you'd better watch out, because he'll soon spawn on an upcoming level to hunt you down. Dandy is a loose cannon, ready to snap at any moment if he doesn't get his way. Based on my years of indie horror experience, my hunch is that this is what happened on the day of the malfunction. Dandy was the first creation, Arthur's main guy, but unlike the others, we're being shown that he can transform into a Twisted rather than just being a Twisted, which lines up with the idea that this mascot malfunctioned, transforming into a Twisted, and created an incident that got the entire place shut down. And that hunch proved to be correct when I found his research data. It says, quote, the star of the show, the one who runs the I-Core operation, it's all his fault. Everything we're experiencing, the abandoned studio taken over by monsters,
was all
Dandy's.
Dandy's.
Down leading to this point, it's all Dandy's fault. However, the reason for Dandy's snap isn't quite as simple as you might think. With Dandy being the primary mascot in a mascot horror game, it would be easy to just assume he's purely evil. Maybe the fame got to him. Maybe he cracked under the pressure, but eventually was overcome by the power of the I-Core and became pure evil. But that isn't the case. There's a little bit of audio storytelling that you might have missed while playing through the game yourself.
Really?
When Twisted Dandy chases you in-game, a song plays that you've no doubt heard before, but probably never knew the name of.
Such a sad theme.
This song is called Claire de Lune, and it's based off an 1869 poem by Paul Verlaine. A poem about someone who looks happy on the outside, but deep down is sad. Quote, playing the lute and dancing and all, but sad beneath their fantasy disguises. This song is telling us what Dandy and also his friends are. They are these picture-perfect, happy, smiling Toons performing for the joy of others. Deep down, they're sad. And they're sad because of what we saw during the Christmas update last year. According to another set of letters, after Christmas had passed, some of the Christmas-themed Toons were doing the whole Blair Witch thing and hiding in the corner. Delilah's response was basically, Christmas is over, just throw them into storage till next year. Even though the Toons are alive, they were being abused by their handlers and treated like props.
Wow.
For the thing they were made for and nothing else. Behind their smiles were sad and lonely creatures. Dandy's dialogue when he thinks you're ignoring him at the shop matches this.
We're friends here, right? Friend? What is happening?
He's confused, he's scared, he is terrified that he too has lived past his usefulness. That if he is no longer the star, that he and his friends face the same fate as those Christmas Toons. And my guess is that's exactly what happened on that fateful day in 2001. Dandy saw how his friends were being treated. He got scared. He didn't want to be ignored, to be forgotten, to no longer be the star. And as a result, he became overcome by the I-Core.
Why is it always humans doing this stuff, man? Why? You created an outwardly being that really shouldn't be in our world. And then you decide to mess it all up for everyone. Because why? Because you can't help yourself. God dang it. Now we gotta deal with what? Now we gotta deal with Ink Monsters by Joey Drew. And now we gotta deal about this. And I'm pretty sure everyone else can think of, you know, people bringing stuff to life, abusing it, and now it's a problem for everyone. Why do we keep doing this to ourselves?
And ultimately caused all the toons to be locked away forever, a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's why, as his research report says, he has restarted the I-Core project. It's not because he's trying to build an army of evil toons to take over the world or to enact his revenge on those who wronged him. He's trying to atone for his sins. He and his friends lost everything, and it's all his fault. Now he's trying to bring the show back to life. He specifically keeps asking you to find and collect and give him the VHS tapes of the show, and he's using the I-Core to create more toons. Maybe, just maybe, if all the toons come back, so too will the fans, the kids, the show, and Dandy can once again be the star he was literally born to be. But he is not the original creator. He's not Delilah. He doesn't know how to use the I-Core properly. He's using too much, and so all of his toon friends are ending up as twisted monsters.
Dang.
But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory! Thanks for watching.
Okay. And that's the end of the episode, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like the videos I know you guys enjoy. And comment down below, what do you guys think? Honestly, this is very interesting, to say the least. And I guess it makes you feel it makes you feel bad about Danny in a way. I mean, like, if this is true, again, I don't know much about Danny's world. So I'm not sure if what Game Theory just said is fact, or maybe they're looking at it the wrong way. If anyone is a big fan of Danny World, please tell me in the comment section below if this is true, or you think this is what the story is heading, or you think this is baloney. But if this is where the story is going, it makes me feel bad for Danny and the rest of the gang, to be honest. A villain trying to do good. But unfortunately, we just gotta make sure we have enough Robux to buy his stuff. Or otherwise, he's coming after us. Dang. And humans, once again, decide to screw it up for everyone else. At this point... Oh my goodness. Anyways, but, would I ever play this game? Possibly, really. It's possible. I mean, it's on Roblox, so I'll probably give it a go. Alongside with Doors, probably, too. But, anyways, that's going to be the end of the video. Make sure you subscribe, so that way I know you guys enjoy. And maybe, you know, turn on the notification bell, so that way you guys never miss out a video. This is OneGamer54, signing off.